Okay, welcome to our second online class section on plane shapes. So, looking at circles, our second video, looking at circles, definition of circles, and the various parts of a circle. So, what's a circle? So, a circle is a round, closed, two-dimensional shape that has no corners or sides. Very simple. So, a circle is a round shape. It's a round shape, it's closed, and it's also a two-dimensional shape, so it's a plane shape. Now, but what's the difference between a circle and an ellipse? So an ellipse is almost similar to a circle, but an ellipse is a circle that is flattened either on one side or at opposite sides. So when a circle is flattened, and then it looks like an egg, or it has an egg-like structure, it is an ellipse. So, but we're not talking of ellipse, we are actually discussing circles. So a circle is a round, closed, it's not open, closed, two-dimensional shape that has no corners or sides. It has no vertex, it has no sides. You can't say that, okay, a circle has 5 sides, or it has 10 sides, or it has 15 sides. No, it has no sides, no corners. It is a round shape that is closed, and that is also a two-dimensional shape. Very easy. So that's the definition of a circle. Now let's go to the various parts of a circle. A circle has 7 parts: circumference, the radius, the diameter, an arc, the chord, sector, and segments. I'll take it again. It has 7 parts: the circumference, the radius, the diameter, the chord, the arc, the segments, and sector. 7 parts. So we're looking at definition of these parts. So let's start with the circumference of a circle. So let's take the definitions first, then I will use the diagram to illustrate or show you the various parts of a circle. And what the circumference of a circle? Now the circumference is the distance around the shape. So the boundary, that the outer covering of the shape of that circle, is the circumference. So that line that you can see that goes around the shape is the circumference of the circle. So that's why the circumference is the distance around the shape. Another word for circumference is perimeter. So you might be asked to find the perimeter of a circle. So what we are simply asking you to do is find the circumference. So another word for circumference is perimeter. So now, what is radius? Radius is singular, radii plural. But radius is a straight line joining the center of a circle to any point on the circumference. It is a line that is drawn from the center of a circle to any parts of the circumference of the circle. So a line that is drawn from the center of a circle to any points of the circumference of the circle is referred to as radius. And of course, radius is diameter over 2. So half of a diameter is also referred to as radius. So when radius is more than 1, when it's 2, 3, it's no longer radius but radii. So there's only like radius is so no. Radius singular, radii plural. So now let's move to the next part, a diameter. Now a diameter is a straight line joining 2 points on the circumference and passes through the center of a circle. So in other words, a diameter is a line that divides the circle into 2 equal halves, into 2 equal parts. So each part is the semicircle, is referred to as a semicircle. So a diameter is a line that is drawn from one part of a circle to another part of the circle, one circumference to another circumference, but this time the line divides the circle into 2 equal halves. So that's what a diameter is. A diameter is a line that divides the circle into 2 equal parts. So one part, or each part, is called a semicircle. So half of a circle is referred to as a semicircle. So let's move to another part, the arc. So an arc is the part of the circumference of a circle. So any part of the circumference of a circle, so if, just like you have a circumference now, so a part of it is referred to as the arc of a circle. So if I draw a line from one part of the circumference to another part of that circumference, as in drawing a line on the circumference. So a part of the circumference is referred to as the arc. Don't worry, I'll use a diagram to illustrate all this. And then what's a chord? A chord is a straight line joining 2 points on the circumference of the circle. So it doesn't divide the circle into 2 equal halves. So but that's just it. But a chord is also a diameter. Yeah. So all diameters are chords, but not all chords are diameter. So what we're saying is a diameter is a special type of chord. So even that diameter I spoke of earlier is a chord. So any line that is drawn in a circle, that is drawn from one part of the circle to another part of the circle, is a chord. But if that line divides the circle into 2 equal parts, it is a diameter. So a diameter is a special type of chord. So a diameter is like an example of a chord. So it's a special type of chord. I'll take it again. A line that is drawn from I want you to learn that today. A line that is drawn from one part of the circumference of the circle to another part, but is referred to as a chord, is known as chord. But if that line divides the circle into 2 equal halves, it's a diameter. So what I'm saying is a diameter is a special type of chord. So even a diameter is a chord. So not all chords divide the circle into 2 equal halves, but any chord that divides the circle into 2 equal halves is a diameter. So a chord can be drawn anywhere in a circle. So it can divide the circle into 2 equal halves, it might not divide the circle into 2 equal halves. But a line that is drawn that divides the circle into 2 equal halves or 2 unequal halves is a chord. Please just take note of that. So what is segment? So like I said earlier, so when that line divides the circle, it divides the circle into different segments. So when you use a line now to divide the circle, it divides the circle into 2 segments. Now there are 2 types of segments: major segments and minor segments. So it's major when you're looking at the bigger side of the circle, and it's minor when we're looking at the smaller part of the circle. Now when you divide the circle with a line, so the bigger part of the circle is the major segment, the smaller part of the circle is the minor segment. So that's why the definition of segment is the region between a chord and the circumference. So the region from where you drew the line, that point at which you drew the line, so that point, that chord, the region from the chord to the circumference of the circle is referred to as the segment. So it could be minor or major. Now what's a sector? A sector is the region between 2 radii and the circumference of the circle. This doesn't make sense without the use of diagram. Now if you look at the diagram carefully, the first diagram here, we have a radius. Like I said earlier, a radius is a line that is drawn from the center of the circle, to any part of the circumference of the circle. So you can see that that line is drawn from the center to any part of the circumference of this circle. So that's a radius. So radius is also half of a diameter. Now sector, like we said, sector is the region between 2 radii. You can see that these 2 lines are radii. So let me use a board to explain this. Let me draw. So let me draw instead. So let me use a board to explain this. So let me draw a circle. So I think doing this myself will help. Okay, good. So now I want to divide this circle into different parts. So now this is the center of a circle. So a line that is drawn from the center to any part of the circumference of the circle is the radius. So this is radius. You can also draw your radius from here to here. As long as it's coming from the center to any part, it's still radius. So let me draw another circle to explain. Let me draw a bigger circle this time to explain what a diameter is. or a chord. Let me start with a chord. Now, like I said earlier, a line that divides a circle is a chord. So I'm going to draw two lines here now. This line and of course this line. So you can see that one of the lines, both of them are chords. Both of them are chords. But the one that divides the circle into two equal halves, this one is the diameter. A diameter divides the circle into two equal halves. So this is the diameter. So that's diameter. Now this is also chord, like I said. The diameter is also a chord. Now, do you see that? Now, can you see that from this chord, this side of the circle, this upper part of the circle, can you see that this side is bigger than this side? Is bigger. So this part, this region that has choke, is called segments. So a segment is the region between the chord and the circumference, or the chord and the circumference. Can you see? So, like I said, a segment is of two types: major segments and minor segments. So this bigger part is the major segment. So major segments. Please don't mind my handwriting. So this part now is the minor segment. So this is major and this is minor. So the bigger part is major and this is minor. Now I want to explain something. Now let me say something on sector. Now can you see this part? This is the first radius. This is another radius. So a sector is a region between two radii. You can see that there are two radii there. Radii 1, radii 2. So this part that is in between two radii and an arc or circumference of a circle is referred to as sector. So sector is the region between two radii and the circumference of a circle. So when you draw two radii, that part, that thing that you have drawn, that thing that is inside of it is referred to as sector. So that's the sector of a circle. Now what is arc? If I draw a line from here now, let me change my color now. If I draw a line now from here to here on the circumference of a circle, that is arc. So an arc is a part of the circumference of that circle. So the part of it is referred to as arc. So that is what we refer to as arc. So this is arc. So I've explained the 7 parts: diameter, radius, segment, sector, arc, chord, and so that's the 7 parts. So let's quickly go back to the notes. So please study the diagram: radius, sector, segments. You can see that this segment is of two types. The yellow part is the major segment. The black part is the minor segment. So but it's the region between the chord. Can you see the line? The chord, from the chord to the circumference of a circle, and this is the arc. So that's the arc, a part of the circumference of a circle. The diameter divides the circle into two equal parts. So now the circumference, can you see? It's the outer boundary of the circle, and then a chord. So this line is referred to as a chord. So like I said, any line that is drawn in a circle that divides the circle is a chord. But for clarity's sake, the line that divides the circle into two equal halves is a diameter. So a diameter is a special type of chord, but this is also another chord. And then we have tangents. So let's just do a quick revision of where we started from. Definition of circle: we looked at circle and said circle is a round, close two-dimensional shape that has no corners. And I also explained the various parts of a circle. There are 7 parts of a circle: circumference, radius, diameter, arc, chord, sector, and segments. So I also explained I also gave the definition of the various parts of a circle, and I backed my explanation with this diagram. and also the diagram I drew on my white marker board. Thanks for listening. Our third video will be on triangles. So we'll explain what a triangle is. A triangle is a three-sided plane figure. So our third video will be on triangles. Thanks for listening. Please stay safe. I love you. Bye.